Hey everyone! So today we're going to be learning about if statements, and by the end of this video you should be able to make this box animation that has the dot going around in circles. Alright, let's start. Okay, so an if statement creates some logic. So that means in like a recipe book, you have step 1, and then if like the eggs are like too dry, then do step 2. But if not, then you skip to step 3. So that's basically what you're going to do in code today. So the syntax for this is a if, parentheses, then brackets. This is another bracket type function. Then in here you have your boolean, or conditional. So make sure you have these if statements, all those. Okay. And now for the if statement, you can have any code you want. So another thing you can add to the if statement is an else if. So else if. So it must go after the end of the bracket here. So, and then you have else if. So if it's saying if that's not true, then check if boolean. Okay? And then you have code here. So then you need like things here, here, and here. Have that. Then if everything is wrong, then hit that else statement. Alright, let's go to the code. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add another time variable. And I'm going to make sure to increment it down here so we can keep track of the time. Then I am going to teach a new function. So we have the rect function, and it'll give you, just like the line function, it holds 4 variables. It's the top right corner. So those are 2 points. So 150, 150, and then the width and the height. So it goes 100, 100. So like that. So now that makes a box. And if I want it to have a larger width, then I increase it by 5, like that. All right, I want it to be a square, like that. So now I'm gonna create an if chain. So that's basically saying I want to chain a bunch of if statements. So I'm gonna say else if something else, blah, blah, blah. So in here, it doesn't really like me when I do that. So when the time variable is less than 100, then I make a point with its coordinates starting from 150, 150, and then I want it to move to the right. So I'm going to increment the x value by the time variable. So let's see if that works. Oh, I don't think you can see that. Stroke weight. Up here too. And I'm doing this because 1, I'm setting the stroke weight here, and then I'm creating the rectangle. And then I switch it over back to the stroke weight 10, and then I make my points. So the code knows when to use the different stroke weights. Alright, so that works. So I'm going to make an else if time is less than 200. Then I want another point. This time I want to start it from over here. So I'm going to start it at the x value of 250 and 150, and I want it to go down. So I am going to add the time variable. But if you see here that at this point, at the start of here, the time variable is going to be 100. So that means that if I want it to start at 0, then I subtract 100 from this. So then when this else if statement runs, then this time variable can be registered here as starting from 0 to 100, right? Since starting here, it's going to start at 100. Then that means if I subtract 100, then this whole thing with the parentheses is 0. So it's going to start at 0. So then I'll do that. I'm actually going to make the time go faster, so I'm going to increase that by 2. Okay, another one. else if, I'm gonna speed up how I write these now. 300 with a new point starting from 250, and 250. I want the x variable to decrease by the time variable by 200. So I'm gonna do that. And then finally, I'm gonna do another else statement where finally from here to here, I will have a point that's starting from 150 to 50 with a decrementing time variable starting from 300. I'm pretty sure this should work. So we have our ball moving in all the directions, but now we see that the ball just continues going else with else statement. So now I want to make it loop back to the start when it reaches 400, I believe. So after I increment the time variable, I'm also going to set the time variable to the modulo of 400. If you don't remember what the modulo is, the modulo gets the remainder. So that means if it gets to 400, so it's like fine from 0 to 400, but if it gets to 400, then the remainder becomes 0. So just like think about it for a little bit. So then it reaches 0, then it sets time to 0, and then it starts incrementing again. All right. So let's see if that works. Perfect. All right, so that's how you do it. Now, I want to encourage you to make a new program that has actually 2 dots rotating. Okay, I'm not gonna show you the code, so I made it smaller, but this is how it should look. So think about how you could do that using the if statements. All right, toodaloo.